This championship weekend has all the makings of a classic, with the AFC title game being played between teams with a combined 10 Super Bowl rings, the most ever in a title game, and the NFC pitting the two hottest quarterbacks in the league. They'll have a lot to live up to, as the NFL has been blessed with at least one classic championship game in every year of the decade. Will Pittsburgh-New England or Green Bay-Atlanta end up on our list of the 15 best championship games in NFL history? 1981 NFC Championship Game, Dallas Cowboys vs. San Francisco 49ers, January 10, 1982. The catch? On one of the most celebrated play in NFL history, San Francisco's Dwight Clark went up in the back of the end zone to catch a missile from a young Joe Montana and give the 49ers a 28-27 lead over the Cowboys with less than a minute left in their back-and-forth title game. Rule: if your game has a nickname, it's going to be pretty high on lists like these. Arthur Anderson, NFL Photos NFL. 1967 NFL Championship, Packers 21, Cowboys 17. Case in point. What we remember most about the Ice Bowl is the bitter cold. Temperatures were in the negative teens, but the game itself was just as memorable as the weather. Two iconic coaches playing a rematch of a classic championship game from the year before, and it all coming down to one play with 13 seconds left. Bart Starr's goal line sneak is immortal, but lost in retellings of the story is the fact that Green Bay was without a timeout, and had Starr been stopped, Green Bay might not have been able to get off a fourth down play. The early history of the Super Bowl era may have been changed forever. Technically this was not an NFC championship game as it happened before the AFL/NFL merger. For our purposes, it's the same thing. AP 3 2006 AFC Championship, Colts 38, Patriots 34. By and large, Tom Brady's Patriots owned Peyton Manning teams. Brady didn't own Manning though. They were two competitors on two separate playing fields. In addition to woes against the Pats, Manning's teams didn't do well in the playoffs due to both weak Colts defenses and a noticeable decline in Manning's postseason play. The 2006 title game looked no different. They trailed 21-3 and rallied to tie the game before a wild final 7.5 minutes that saw 4 go-ahead or tying scores, including a Joseph Addai touchdown with 1 minute left that gave the Colts their first lead and sent Manning to his first Super Bowl. 1986 AFC Championship, Broncos 23, Browns 20. The drive. The first of the two Denver-Cleveland AFC Championship games is more revered. A 98-yard touchdown drive by a future Hall of Famer to force overtime with 37 seconds left will do that, but in terms of game quality the fumble was the rare sequel that outdid the original. The Empire Strikes Back, Toy Story 2, The Dark Knight make that list. The Godfather 2 is not. Don't buy the hype. The first game was a sloppy effort. Before the drive, Elway was downright mediocre, a fact that's always made that piece of NFL history a little less impressive. Throw for more than 175 yards and don't have a pick, and maybe you don't need the drive. John, the '87 rematch, conversely, was a shootout in which Denver quickly shot down hopes of revenge by getting out to a 21-3 halftime lead. But the Browns stormed back with 4 touchdowns in just over 15 minutes to tie the game at 31. Elway led another drive, this time 75 yards, to take the lead, and Bernie Kosar almost matched him with a 75-yard TD drive of his own, but on the final play Ernest Byner took a handoff from the 8, got past the defense and looked like he was about to score the game-tying touchdown, until the ball was somehow stripped from behind to force the titular turnover. The drive was a new pain for the Browns. The fumble became the embodiment for an entire fan base. Cleveland has only won 2 playoff games since. 2013 NFC Championship, Seahawks 23, 49ers 17. It's really hard to place recent games into historical context. Which moments will be remembered in 5 years or 10 or 50? The aforementioned run of great championship games leaves any number of choices to rank this high, and though we'll see some of the other ones later, the Richard Sherman, Michael Crabtree game has to be number 1 from the recent past. It included Seattle forcing 3 fourth-quarter turnovers, a 35-yard Russell Wilson touchdown pass on 4th and 7 and the game's final competitive play, Sherman deflecting a pass into the hands of teammate Malcolm Smith. The post-game rant in which Sherman called out Crabtree became an instant classic and perhaps was a bit of overcompensation. Sherman was actually beat by Crabtree on the play, but Colin Kaepernick's pass was so short that Sherman was able to get his hand on it for the deflection.